Peeps! With Halloween Horror Nights dates and ticket information officially out for 2024, we thought we'd start our Halloween Horror Nights coverage for this year's event by doing something a little different. Now, we will have our normal videos featuring the announcements, the house information, the guides, the food, and of course, opening weekend coverage as those things happen. But what we thought we'd start with this year is, we see a lot online, people asking questions because they're new to Halloween Horror Nights. And while there's a great community out there for Halloween Horror Nights, we thought it'd be fun to have a little series of beginner's guide videos. If you've never been to Halloween Horror Nights, it can be a little bit overwhelming with all the ticket information and the express information and the VIP passes and all those kinds of things. So we thought we'd just take a little bit of time. And today we're going to talk about the dates, we're going to talk about the tickets, we're going to talk about the express options and more. But before we get into it, make sure that if you like this kind of content and you're interested in seeing more videos like this, that you hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell and leave us a comment down below, because it's really helpful for us to just interact with you, know what you like, know what you're interested in, and ask questions about what you like to see in more beginner's guide videos. And we'll try to keep all the videos relatively short, 5 to 10 minutes. That way it's a nice bite-sized chunk, nothing too overwhelming to get you ready for the event. First big question to talk about is, what is Halloween Horror Nights? Well, Halloween Horror Nights is the world's premier Halloween event. It takes place in different Universal Destinations and Experiences theme parks. Now, today we're going to be talking about the Halloween Horror Nights that's coming to Universal Studios Orlando. However, there are HHN experiences in Hollywood, in Singapore, and also in Japan. Now, Halloween Horror Nights this year will feature 10 all-new houses, and it'll be a mixture of what we call IP houses, intellectual property houses based on movies that are either classic movies or in cinemas right now, just very popular movie content, as well as original stories created by Universal's creative team. And some of those are some of the best houses that they've had in prior years. So you'll see a lot of folks online talking about what's their favorite kind of house. Lots of fans, new fans, like hopefully yourselves, come to the event for the IP houses, things like Stranger Things or Nightmare on Elm Street or Ghostbusters. But a lot of longtime fans have really come to appreciate the original stories and the characters created by Universal's entertainment team. Now, those haunted houses are, they range in quality from movie theater or movie quality sets to some more condensed claustrophobic houses. But they are really just designed in ways that are intended to both entertain you and scare you, but also to just, showcase some of the amazing talents that these designers have. Now, there will also be 5 scare zones this year. So scare zones are basically like outdoor haunted houses. They are, you don't need to wait in line. It's just as you walk through the park, there will be themed areas throughout the park that will have their own kind of stories and their own kinds of characters, and you can interact with those characters and sometimes take pictures with them. But it's really intended to just kind of have an environment where the scare is everywhere, where you can walk throughout the park and get entertainment without necessarily having to be in a haunted house itself. According to the press release, this year's Halloween Horror Nights event will also feature an energetic live show. Now, these past few years, they have featured Halloween Nightmare Fuel, which is kind of like a song and dance, cool rock show kind of thing. Now, whether that's coming or not, we don't know yet, but they do say that there will be another live show this year. Of course, one of the big draws to Halloween Horror Nights in recent years is that it also is almost its own food and beverage event as well. They will have numerous food and beverage options inspired by the Halloween Horror Nights themes this year, and they have just cool menus and cool food items, and it gets people really hyped up, and it kind of gives you even more to enjoy about the event than just the houses, the scare zones, the shows. Now it's kind of a food festival as well. And I really have liked that they've done that in recent years. And, it's something that if you are a foodie, you'll find a lot to enjoy about that as well. There is also a highly themed tribute store. And the tribute store is basically just a merch store with dedicated merchandise for the year's event, but you'll be able to walk through it. And it's almost a haunted house in and of itself. It doesn't have actors or anything like that, but it's heavily themed to Halloween Horror Nights, either this year's event or some concepts that they've had in the past. But it's a really cool experience while you're also purchasing food and merchandise in the store. And finally, in addition to all the stuff that's offered by Halloween Horror Nights, select attractions like roller coasters and rides in certain areas of the park will also be open during Halloween Horror Nights at night. The lines tend to be shorter because most people are there to focus on the Halloween Horror Nights specific events. But if you are wanting to ride Rip Ride Rocket or some of the rides that are open during the night, the lines will typically be shorter than they are during a daytime event. Now, as you can see, we did not talk about any of the Halloween Horror Nights specific themes or houses or scare zone properties that are going to be featured this year. And that's because as of the time of this recording in early April, they haven't announced that stuff. They'll typically announce that in the months leading up to the event. So we are recording this in early April. So we'll probably have announcements throughout these coming months, and the full event will be revealed, kind of closer to time frame, around August. But if you are booking, it tends to, be cheaper, obviously, to book early. And certain nights will sell out. Some certain single day tickets, single night tickets will tend to sell out, which is a little bit tricky because you don't know the themes sometimes when you're buying the tickets. But regardless, it's always a good time. So it's worth getting your tickets early when you can guarantee that you're getting, the types of tickets and the nights that you want. And we'll talk about tickets here in a minute. But before we do, just as important as what is Halloween Horror Nights is when is Halloween Horror Nights taking place in 2024? Well, like I said, we are specifically talking about the Universal Orlando event this year. And so Halloween Horror Nights will run for 48 select nights beginning August 30th. Yeah, Halloween starts at the end of August in Orlando and will run through November 3rd. So it'll continue into the weekend past Halloween. Typically weekends, but of course there will be weeks where it'll also run Wednesday. Definitely go to HalloweenHorrorNights.com. That'll have the full schedule of dates because they're not open every day, but it's select nights in that 2+ month time period. Okay, so here's where things get a little tricky. We're going to talk about the ticket options. So select ticket options are available right now. As I said, we're recording this in early April and not all tickets are yet available for sale, but single night tickets and certain VIP upgrades and stuff like that, which we'll talk about here in a minute, are available now. And more will release. The multi-night tickets, which we're going to talk about, will release around midsummer timeframe. And that's when you can get your multi-night passes or your, let's just talk about it right now. There are a lot of options in the tickets, so it's probably best to purchase your ticket depending on what you're looking for out of the event. So if you are just going for one night, 1 or 2 nights, you just need a single day ticket. It is more cost effective to just get a single day ticket if you're only planning or only available to go 1 or 2 nights throughout the event. If you're going more than 2 nights, so you're going to go into a 3rd night, we recommend getting a multiple ticket option, which again, not on sale yet as of this recording. Now, there are a variety of multi-ticket options. We're going to talk about what they are here. If all of your nights are within the first few weeks of the event, your availability to attend Halloween Horror Nights is pretty much restricted to the first few weeks of the event, get the Rush of Fear Pass. That's available to just people who are interested in coming in the first, 3 or 4 weeks of the event. If you want to visit past that time frame, but don't plan on visiting Friday or Saturday nights because you don't want to deal with those Friday, Saturday crowds, then you'll want a Frequent Fear. Now, the Frequent Fear Pass generally includes the first weekend of the event as well. So you can get the full first weekend and you can attend any day of the event except Friday and Saturday. If you want the option to come on Fridays, then you do the Frequent Fear Plus. So it's everything that the Frequent Fear was, which is every day of the event except Fridays and Saturdays, except this one includes Fridays. And it also typically includes the first and last weekends of the event as well. And finally, if you want to visit any day of the event, you don't want to worry about, Fridays or Saturdays or limited availability, and you just want to visit any day you want, get the Ultimate Frequent Fear Pass. The Ultimate Frequent Fear Pass will just give you the ability to come and go as you please any night of the event. Now, the biggest thing people always ask is, do I need express passes? I would historically have said yes. If you want to go to Halloween Horror Nights, get an express pass. But I have found that there are people who really relish in not necessarily the line waiting experience, but in the experience of showing up to Stay and Scream, hopping all over the park, trying to get as many houses as you can, or staying till the end of the event where the lines are a bit shorter, showing up later, not showing up at the start of the event, show up 10 or 11 o'clock after the crowds have really dissipated and just hit what houses you can. So I'd say express passes are really going to be dependent on what experience you want out of Halloween Horror Nights. So if you want to get every house in one night, I would recommend getting an express pass or an RIP tour. Those are your best options, right? And we'll talk about RIP tour here in a second, but those are really going to be your best options for ensuring you can get all 10 houses in one night. Now, there are ways to get around to all the houses, but it does require a lot of planning and running around and being there for Stay and Scream, or like I said, coming in later, coming on quiet nights, those types of things. So again, it's all about the experience that you want. I myself tend to lean towards getting an express pass because I don't want to, I want the ability to go at my own leisure and experience the houses without necessarily having to plan around making sure that I'm in certain places at certain times to avoid lines. The express pass just gives you, shortens your wait. If you don't want or need to visit all the houses in one night, you want to just, visit 2 or 3 or half of them. And, it's, you can go later and, you can go another night. Like if you don't necessarily care about seeing all 10 in one night, then it's not necessary, right? You don't need the express pass, but do think about the value of your time, because some wait times, especially for some of those IP houses that we mentioned earlier, if there's a significant IP, like in past years, we've had things like Stranger Things that are pretty popular. If there's something like that, your wait in that line could be up to 2 hours. So it really just depends on, one, not everyone can afford Express Pass, so there's that, but it's just about planning accordingly. If you don't have an Express Pass, perhaps you want to do Stay and Scream, which again, we'll talk about in a future video, and just hit some of those more popular houses before the lines pick up. So there are options. I do tend to recommend the Express Pass, and I myself do get one, but there are options to experience Halloween Horror Nights without it. Finally, for today's video, what VIP and extra ticket options are there? So in addition to the ticket options, there are additional experiences that you can purchase right now on HalloweenHorrorNights.com that kind of add to your event. So the first one is a guided nighttime RIP tour experience where guests can receive priority VIP access to the haunted houses. So we just talked about express passes. Express passes are great, but you're on your own, right? And it shortens your wait time. With an RIP tour, you have a guided tour guide who will make sure that you experience everything throughout the event, and you get direct front of the line access, not a shortened line. The guide will bring you to the entrance of the house, and you'll be able to walk right through it. Now, usually those RIP tours can get very expensive, and you must also have a ticket for the night in question. So it's not just the cost of the RIP tour. You also need to ensure you have a ticket to get into the park for Halloween Horror Nights as well. So that's an added cost as well. And, we're not talking about prices here because it does vary depending on day and things like that. But, it can be over $100 for sure, if not more. So you need that in addition to reserving a spot on an RIP tour. Now, the RIP tour is absolutely the best option to ensure you maximize your Halloween Horror Nights experience. And you'll get extra nuggets of like trivia and information from your tour guide. It is a fantastic experience to do an RIP tour. It is also very expensive. Now, Universal Orlando also offers what they call Behind the Screams tours. Now, these Behind the Screams Unmasking the Horror tours will give you a glimpse into the haunted houses during the daytime with the lights on, no actors, but you'll be able to go through select haunted houses. Typically, they allow for photographs in certain areas, so you can take photos in some of the houses. You can get more information about the behind the scenes, see the house in broad, I wouldn't say broad daylight because some of the houses are still pretty dark, but you can see them with the lights on and really get a lot of cool behind the scenes information that you can't just by experiencing the event itself. Now, those tickets are offered, again, during the daytime, usually on event nights. However, this year, for guests who don't want to wait, they will be offering sneak peek 3-house behind the screams tours. So they offer a 3-house tour and a 6-house tour. It's a lot of walking, but they are this year, for the first time, offering the ability to see behind the scenes of certain houses, 3 houses, starting on August 11th, which is 3 weeks before the event actually starts. You have the ability to get a behind the scenes tour of some of the houses. We don't know what the houses are, again, but that's a cool option if you want to just kind of see the construction in progress and what goes into creating what you ultimately experience during Halloween Horror Nights. Now, some people would prefer to go spoiler-free into the event. Some people like the spoilers and like to see what's going on, but those are options available to you that are upgrades to your regular ticket cost. Okay, so that does it for today's video. Hopefully you liked this beginner's guide to Halloween Horror Nights. Hopefully you learned something if you're new to the event, or if you're not new to the event, hopefully you just liked the video. Regardless, like I mentioned, give us a thumbs up. Really hope you liked this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let us know in the comments below if you want to see more videos like this, and what questions for you, especially if you're a first timer, that you have about the event. We've been going to Halloween Horror Nights on and off for, I guess we're going on 21 years of Halloween Horror Nights in our lives. We've been, fans for a long time, and some of you watching this have probably been fans for even longer than that. We love going to the event. We love sharing the experience with you, and hopefully we'll see you around this year. So definitely let us know if you're going this year as well while you're down there in those comments. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.